Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we will be discussing about the adaptations in various living organisms to different habitats. First comes the desert. In our last class, we got to know about the abiotic factors of a desert and the adaptations in camels to these. In this class, we will be going some deeper into how the organisms are able to survive in the desert. Now, let us discuss how other desert animals like rats and snakes, which do not have long legs like camel, manage to survive in the desert. During the day, they stay in deep burrows in the sand to avoid heat. They come out during the night as it is cooler then. Then comes the desert plants. Students, you can bring 2 potted plants to the class. One plant will be a cactus plant and the other plant a leafy plant. Tie 2 polythenes around the leaves of these plants separately. After some days, what do you observe? We observe that there is a difference between the water collected in the polythene of these 2 plants. So, let us see how the desert plants are able to survive in the desert. They lose very little water through transpiration, about which we discussed in our last class. In desert plants, the leaves are either absent, very small, or present in the shape of spines. This helps in reducing loss of water from the leaves through transpiration. In cactus, the leaf-like structures that we see are actually its stem. They perform photosynthesis for the plants. The stem is also covered with a thick waxy layer which helps to retain water. Most desert plants have roots that go very deep into the soil for absorbing water. Now, let us see how the animals and the plants live in mountain regions. In the summer vacations, most of us like to visit to hilly areas and mountain regions. There we get to see different kinds of plants and animals that we are unable to see in our daily habitats. The mountain regions, their habitats are normally very cold and windy, and in some areas snowfall may occur. All of us have seen mostly long conical trees in mountain regions, but do we find these trees somewhere else? I don't think so. So also you must be thinking. So let us see how these trees adapt to the conditions prevailing in their habitat. These trees are normally cone-shaped with sloping branches. Their leaves are generally needle-like, which helps the rainwater or snow to slide off easily. Not only trees, but the animals living in the mountain regions have also adapted themselves to the conditions present in their habitat. They have thick skin or fur to protect them from cold. Let's take the example of yak, the most common animal that we find in the mountain regions. They have long hair to keep their body warm. Snow leopard has thick fur on its body, including feet and toes. This protects its feet from the cold when it walks on the snow. Thus, we got to see different kinds of adaptations at different heights as we go up in the mountains. In the lower areas, plants and animals have some different kinds of adaptations, whereas if we go up towards the mountains, towards the peak of the mountains, we will be finding some different kinds of adaptations in the organisms. So let us move towards a different habitat, that is the grasslands. First, let us see how a lion manages to live in a forest or grassland. It is a strong animal that feeds on small animals like deer by hunting and killing them. Lions have long claws in their front legs that can be withdrawn inside the toes. The light brown color of its body helps it to hide in dry grasslands when it hunts for prey. The eyes in front of the face allows it to have a correct idea about the location of its prey. Not only a lion, but other animals like deer are also well adapted to live in the grasslands. A deer has strong teeth for chewing hard plant stems of the forest. It needs to know about the presence of predators, animals like lions, tigers, etc., in order to escape. So, for this, it has got long ears to hear the movement of predators, so that it can have an idea so as to where is the exact location of the predators. It has eyes on both sides of its head, which allows it to look in all directions for danger. The speed of the deer helps it to run away from the predator. So now, let us see some aquatic habitats and how plants and animals living inside the water have managed to live in such habitats. We are able to see a large number of oceans, ponds, rivers around us. So first, have a look at the oceans. Like fish, other sea animals have streamlined bodies to help them move easily in the water. About the streamlined bodies and how this feature helps the fish to move inside the water, we had discussed in our last classes, which you may recall. Some sea animals like squids and octopus, which do not have this streamlined shape, stay deeper in the ocean near the seabed and catch their prey that move towards them. However, when they move in water, they make their body shapes streamlined. They have gills to help them use dissolved oxygen in water. But some aquatic animals like dolphins and whales, they don't have gills. So how do they breathe? They breathe in air through the nostrils or blowholes located on the upper parts of their heads. This allows them to breathe in air when they swim near the surface of water. They can stay inside the water for a long time without breathing. Isn't it interesting? They come to the surface from time to time to breathe in air. Now have a look at the ponds and lakes and the plants and animals living inside it. You must have seen plants growing in ponds, lakes, rivers, etc. How are these different to the plants that we see on the land? Some of these plants have their roots fixed in the soil below the plant. Unlike terrestrial plants, in which roots carry out the function of absorption of nutrients and water from the soil, the roots of the aquatic plants are much reduced in size, and their main function is to hold the plant in proper place. The stem of these plants are long, hollow and light, which grow up to the surface of water, while the leaves and flowers float on the surface. Some aquatic plants are totally submerged in water and their paths grow underwater. They have narrow and thin ribbon-like leaves which can be bent in the flowing water. In some submerged plants, leaves are often highly divided through which water can easily flow without damaging them. This sounds interesting. So, let us see how a most common animal, the frog, which we are able to see on the land as well as in the water, is able to survive inside the water. Frog, they usually have ponds as their habitat, can stay both in water as well as in land, as I mentioned earlier. They have strong back legs that help them in leaping and catching their prey. They have webbed feet which help them swim in water, as we saw in the streamlined bodies for fishes. So students, at the end of today's class, we got to know a lot of things about the plants and animals that are present in different habitats, be it desert, mountain regions or aquatic regions. We got to know about some specific plants and animals and their adaptations. But if we go into deeper, we will be getting to know that different plants and animals have different kind of adaptations to manage and to live successfully in different habitats. That's all for today's class. Thank you.